Yes.
Hi everyone, welcome, thank you for coming. We're going to get started. Caitlin is going to lead with a presentation about the asylum form, which you should all have a physical copy of. Thank you. I'm Emma. I work at Reef with Maria. I want to say thank you to Mirka and Tavia for being here and for co-hosting with us. I also want to thank some of the volunteers who are in the room who you'll have a chance to speak with after the presentation. In the back we have Lynn, who's excellent to talk to about pretty much anything under the sun. If you have a question and you don't know where to go to Lynn. Lynn also has snacks, so please take a snack and get comfortable. David is here to talk about healthcare, so if you have any questions related to accessing healthcare, please speak with him. Madeline in the green is here to talk to you about the waiting process, waiting for an asylum interview and what that feels like, and the stresses associated with that and how to kind of manage that and be your best self while you're waiting in such a stressful time. And then Tinsley is here to talk about education. Resources. We'll run through that again at the end, but just know that at the end of the presentation, all of that's going to be available. And then, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yes, I'm going to translate what you said.
Okay.
Hola, bienvenidos a todos, gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Mi nombre es Emma, estoy traduciéndola a ella, después me presento yo. Mi nombre es Emma, trabajo para RIF con María. Estamos aquí muy contentos de que nos estén acompañando. También quiero agradecerle a todos los voluntarios que están presentes hoy aquí en este meeting. Quiero que sepan que al fondo se encuentra Ellen, ella trajo ropa para que ustedes puedan chequear si hay algo les queda. También trajo algunos snacks para compartir y si tienen alguna pregunta con relación a cualquier cosa, donde encontrar un recurso o algo, pregúntenle a ella, ella es muy buena. Estamos aquí para hacer la traducción, cualquier cosa. También de aquel lado tenemos a David, él está aquí para presentarnos una herramienta que sirve para navegar los recursos de salud en la ciudad de Nueva York, solo en la ciudad de Nueva York, y con él al finalizar la charla se pueden acercar si requieren información. Tenemos a Madeleine, que es la señora que está vestida allí de gris, con ella pueden hacer cualquier consultoría emocional que sientan a bien hacerle. Ella ha trabajado con buscadores de asilo, ella sabe lo que significa el proceso de la espera, la angustia y todo esto. Con ella pueden conversar nuevamente, si necesitan traducción, estamos a la orden. Y de este lado tenemos a Tancilia. Tancilia está aquí para presentarnos, es la señora de investigación, está aquí para presentarnos los recursos como buscadores de asilo para accesar a lo que son recursos educativos de universidad cuando uno está buscando inscribirse en una universidad. Entonces con ella pueden buscar información de ese tipo. De todas maneras, al finalizar vamos a repetir todo esto y le damos las gracias a Mirka y a Vía que está con nosotros hoy participando en este encuentro, a mí, en este conversatorio. Con el abogado Caitlin.
Hello, hi. How's everybody doing today? Did everyone feel their fingers again? Yeah. All right, well, thank you for braving our first, what seems like winter day in New York and coming over to discuss the asylum application and some of the new rules about how to fill it out properly so that it does not get rejected by immigration. Some of you may be aware that very recently there was sort of a new little instructional box that is on the landing page for the asylum application form. It used to be you would just go to that page and you would download the form and be on your way and fill it out. And now there's this big kind of like warning box that essentially says if there's any part of this form that's not filled out, it will be rejected by USCIS, which doesn't mean they're denying your asylum case. It means they're just not going to accept and process your application. They're sending it back to you and saying, all right, try again. The reason this is important is that a lot of folks don't want to have to deal with having their application rejected, right? Because you're depending on the acceptance date to start the process of waiting for your interview and the process of waiting to be eligible for your work permit. So this is why it's so important that everybody understands the ways to properly fill out the form so that it will have the best chance of being accepted by immigration.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Mi nombre es Caitlin, estoy aquí con ustedes. ¿Cómo están todos ustedes? Espero que se encuentren bien. Hoy vamos entonces en este conversatorio a hablar un poco acerca de los cambios que recientemente se dieron con la planilla I-589 que todos deberían de tener a la mano porque la vamos a seguir parte por parte. Básicamente lo que dice esta nota cuando te metes en la página de inmigración es que ninguna parte de la planilla puede quedar sin ser llenado. Si alguna parte de la planilla no está llena, esta aplicación va a ser rechazada. Y todos sabemos que eso puede causar un problema y no queremos que nuestra aplicación sea rechazada. Básicamente de eso se va a tratar el conversatorio que el abogado nos va a hablar hoy.
All right. So I see that everybody has the form in their hand, and I see there's a ton of people joining us online. Hello, thank you for being here. So if you go to the USCIS website to look at this form, which is called the I-589, right? It's 12-page PDF is what the form is that you download online. The first 10 pages is the actual application. That's what you need to complete and submit to immigration. The additional 2 pages at the very end, we have Supplement A, right, and Supplement B. These are not necessary portions of the application. They do not need to be completed and filled out to have a complete application. They are only there if you need more space. So it's only pages 1 through 10 that make up the application itself. If there's no need for information that you have that spills over onto additional sheets, you don't need to submit Supplement A or B, okay? They're not necessary pages if they're going to be blank, all right?
Okay, cuando estamos dentro de la página de USCIS, lo primero que recibimos, aparte de la bienvenida de haber ingresado a la página de uscis.gov, es que podemos descargar esta planilla, que es la I-589, en formato PDF de forma gratuita. Lo importante que sepan de lo que ella acaba de decir es que las primeras 10 páginas de esta planilla son su aplicación como tal. Son las páginas que ustedes deben abocarse a llenar porque esta es su aplicación de asilo. Las últimas 2 páginas de ese archivo PDF, que son la suplementaria A y la suplementaria B, no es necesario ser llenadas, son simplemente información adicional que si no les alcanzó en esta, pueden utilizar en esta, pero no es que es obligatorio. Lo obligatorio se encuentra en las 10 primeras páginas de la planilla.
Okay, and you'll notice at the very bottom of the form will be the edition date. So the one that we're all looking at is 9/10/19. This is the newest edition of the form that's out. USCIS very frequently updates the editions of all of their immigration forms. So I encourage everyone, before you even start filling out your asylum application or your work permit application or any other kind of immigration form, you download the newest edition from the USCIS website, just so that you're not accidentally submitting an older edition that you found somewhere else, because it will be rejected if it's not an edition that immigration is currently accepting.
Okay. En la página última, la página 12, si ven en el suplementario B, hay una parte que dice que una fecha adicional. En esa fecha adicional solamente la van a llenar si están agregando algo adicional posterior a donde tienen haber llenado esta planilla. Quiero que tengan en cuenta, muy importante, que cuando están en la página de USC, si están descargando la planilla gratuita, tengan presente que están descargando la más actualizada, esta, la que tiene ahora agregado esto en el archivo. Tengan presente de descargar, por favor, esa planilla.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to start going through the form page by page, just to make sure that we all understand what these questions are asking, how to answer them, and especially how to answer them if they don't even apply to you, because now this new rule is that even if the answer is none or not applicable or never, you have to actually write those words in. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to answer questions that you don't actually have an answer to. Okay, and for the people watching on the computer, you can follow along by pulling up the form online, because I don't think you can quite see behind my head the one that's on the screen, but then everyone here, you can look at the one that you have in front of you as well as the one on the screen, and we'll try and zoom into certain portions that we want to pay particular attention to. Okay.
Ok, lo que vamos a hacer entonces básicamente es ir parte por parte dentro de la planilla. Todos en teoría deberíamos tener esta planilla en la mano porque ya va a ir parte por parte para llenarla. Ok, lo importante es que aquellos que no la tienen, por favor, en este Zoom puedan seguirla a ella de la forma como se va a llenar. Hay porciones de la planilla que no necesariamente nosotros tenemos información para llenar. Lo importante, porque como no se puede dejar nada en blanco, es colocar ninguno, no aplica o nunca, pero colocarlo, no se puede dejar en blanco. Ya ella nos explicará mejor.
All right, so what I want to start with is this teeny tiny box that a lot of people don't even see is on the form that is above what looks like the beginning of the form. Does everyone see this little box that says check it if you want to apply for withholding of removal under the Convention Against Torture? All right, so this is the sneaky box, all right? I think they do it on purpose. This is a box that everybody should always check. All right. This is a form of protection that while the asylum office can't grant to you because it's above their heads, essentially, if your case is sent to the immigration court for the second opportunity to have your case heard, it is something that an immigration judge can look at as a form of international human rights law to protect you, but it's something that needs to be checked off. It's just a rule of thumb, always check that box. Everybody, no matter what your case is about, no matter when you're applying for asylum in relation to when you last entered the country, that box should always be checked off. Okay? Tell your friends, tell everybody you know. Check off the box.
La primera cosa que le quiero decir es todos presten atención a esta cajita que está en la parte superior izquierda de la planilla. Esta cajita muy pequeña que está en la parte superior izquierda de la planilla, yo pienso que lo hicieron a propósito, está realmente muy pequeña y hacia allá. Lo importante aquí es que sepan que esta cajita tiene que estar marcada. No importa o cuál su caso sea, lo que ustedes piensen de su caso, esta cajita siempre tiene que estar marcada. ¿Por qué? Porque es una ley antitortura que puede ser aplicada por cuestiones de leyes internacionales de derechos humanos, que puede aplicar a nosotros si el caso no es aprobado y si dentro de la misma corte no es aprobado, esto tiene que ser considerado en caso de que definitivamente no se pueda regresar al país. Por lo tanto, independientemente de su caso, esa casilla siempre tiene que estar marcada en la planilla I-589.
Alrighty. So this first page of the asylum application, as it's called, is Part A1, information about you, and that's exactly what it is. So we're just going to go through all of these questions, okay? So at the very top, there's three numbers they ask for. They ask for your A number, your social security number, and your USCIS online account number. Most people will not have any of these when they file their application for asylum. That's perfectly fine. What do we write in the boxes if we don't have these?
None.
Yeah, none, right? Or not applicable, that's okay, all right, but just write something. Most asylum applicants will not be assigned an alien registration number, an A number, until they actually have their application for asylum received by immigration, and then they're given a receipt notice, and that's usually the first time that people will actually have an A number. Okay, it's possible that you will have already had an A number assigned to you through another immigration process, and then you can put that in there, that's okay, but for most folks, none is going to be what you write here. Same with the social security number, none, and then a USCIS online account number. You do not need to create one in order to have your asylum application accepted. You can also write none for that. Okay.
Ok, las primeras tres preguntas, los que nos vamos a ir donde dice la parte A1, ¿verdad? La parte A1, fíjense en la pregunta 1, 2 y 3. Hacen relación como a tres diferentes números que nosotros generalmente no tenemos al momento de aplicar asilo. Hacen referencia al número de alien, al Social Security y al número de cuenta online de la página de USCIS. Ustedes no tienen nada de eso generalmente cuando se está aplicando asilo. Entonces, ¿qué se coloca? None o ninguno, ¿cierto? Eso tiene que colocarlo, no se puede dejar en blanco. Puede ocurrir que tengamos un número de alien, aunque generalmente el número de alien se obtiene cuando USCIS recibe nuestra aplicación de asilo y nos mandan un número de alien, pero puede ser que teniendo unas visas anteriores tengamos un número de alien, ahí se coloca, pero entonces para el resto de las casillas no se pueden dejar en blanco, tienen que colocar none, que es non, que es ninguno, ¿ok? Básicamente eso se trata.
All right. So the next line, numbers 4, 5, and 6, this is your complete legal name. This should match the name that is on your legal document, so your passport, your birth certificate. It's not uncommon for people to get a little confused about the order of their name because not all cultures and countries will put the name in the same order as the United States will order names. Just do your best to have it match, especially if you came in on a U.S. visa. The name in the order that's on the U.S. visa corresponding with your passport. Number 7 asks if you've used any other names. A lot of people who have very long names or who have more than one last name, family name, will have used several combinations of their names. There's nothing wrong with having done that, but number 7, that's the place where you can go ahead and list those for U.S. immigration. And the reason that it's helpful for immigration for you to take the time to go through your documents and list the various combinations of your name if you've had combinations used, is so that way when they're looking at your documents that you submit either with your application or later on, they feel a little more comfortable understanding, oh, these are all this person's documents. This isn't a mistake that this is part of this evidence packet because I see that this person also used this other name before, so this is clearly their document. Does that make sense? Okay.
Ok, las casillas 4, 5, 6 y 7 hablan de tu nombre. La parte que hay que tener, estar muy pendiente, muchachos, es que el nombre que ustedes van a colocar ahí sea el nombre que coincida con lo que están en sus documentos legales. Cuando hablamos aquí de documentos legales, hablamos de su visa con la que ingresaron a los Estados Unidos y el pasaporte. Esos nombres deben de coincidir y esos nombres que aparezcan ahí son los nombres que van a colocar acá. Tal cual como aparece en su visa y en su pasaporte, lo colocan acá. La casilla número 7 hace referencia a un nombre que hayamos utilizado. Chequeen si ustedes han utilizado o si en uno de sus documentos legales aparece un nombre que no puede ser, dice ella que se han visto casos en donde, bueno, nosotros tenemos 2 nombres y 2 apellidos, por ejemplo. Entonces puede ser ese nombre que se coloca ahí. De lo contrario, nosotros no hemos utilizado otro nombre. Pero ya saben, si no hay nada que colocar, ya saben lo que tienen que escribir, ¿ok? Pero aquí lo importante que ya se menciona es que tiene que coincidir con nuestros documentos legales, visa y pasaporte.
Right. And if you've never used any other names, what do you write?
Ajá, y si ustedes no utilizan otro nombre, ¿qué escriben?
No. Yes, all right, great. Number 8 asks for your physical residence in the United States. This is the address where you live. You are given the option in number 9 to provide a different address if you receive your mail at a different address. Okay, you see the difference there? If you receive your mail at the same address at which you live, go ahead and write that address in a second time. Don't leave it blank, even though it says to only fill it out if it's different. Ignore that rule because now we have this more powerful rule. So if you receive your mail at the same address where you live, put that address in twice for numbers 8 and 9. Okay?
Okay. En el número 8 y 9 hace referencia a la dirección donde ustedes residen actualmente. Deben de colocar la dirección donde ustedes quieren que se reciba sus notificaciones de USCIS. Es muy importante que la coloquen completa y la coloquen bien. Por experiencia personal, siempre tienen errores con los apartamentos. Coloquen todo bien. La casilla número 9, fíjense que dice que si la dirección del correo es diferente a la dirección que escribieron en la casilla 8, escriban algo aquí. Si no, no es necesario. No le presten atención. Escríbanla y repítenla así sean la misma. No dejen nada en blanco. Lo importante es que esta nueva regla que salió es más poderosa que lo que decía esta planilla y lo importante es que repitan. Así sea lo mismo que tengan que escribir, vuélvanlo a escribir.
Okay, and you'll see that in numbers 8 and 9 it also asks for your phone number. How there could be a different phone number for mailing address, let's just ignore the fact that that makes no sense. Just go ahead and put your phone number in twice on both places.
Lo mismo para el teléfono, lo pregunta 2 veces, no importa, repítanlo 2 veces, por favor.
Okay. Number 10, gender, we're only given 2 options. We're working on it, okay? Just choose one, and if your case relates to anything to do with gender, that can be discussed with your officer at your interview. Some people choose to put the gender marker that corresponds with what is on their current legal documents. Other people choose to put the one that they identify with and then deal with it at the interview. That's totally up to you. Okay.
La número 10 hace referencia al género. Lamentablemente nada más tiene identificado 2 géneros, estamos trabajando sobre eso, pero por favor, marquen aquel género con el que ustedes se sientan identificados o el que aparece en sus documentos legales. Entonces eso es lo que tienen que marcar aquí para no entrar en profundidad con ese tema. Muy bien.
All right, number 11, your marital status. The general options that are on all sorts of documents. Just have it be correct, okay? And then we've got the normal stuff that everybody is familiar with, having filled out things over the course of their life. Your date of birth. Do remember that in the United States we use month, day, year to designate a date. Please do that, otherwise it can mess up the paperwork and it can take a while to fix it. Don't worry if your passport has it the way that the rest of the world uses. Go ahead for this form and use the way that they ask you to do it. City and country of birth, your nationality at birth. These are all fairly straightforward for everybody.
Del número 11 a la 17 básicamente son preguntas que nos hacen en aplicaciones regulares que hacemos en nuestra vida aquí. Correcto, lo que tenemos que tener o prestar atención, que es el consejo que nos da la abogado, es en la fecha de nacimiento. Independientemente de lo que diga nuestro pasaporte, la fecha de nacimiento aquí se tiene que colocar en el orden que es aquí. El mes, el día y los 4 dígitos del año. No lo coloquen al revés, cuídense en esa parte porque esto puede generar un desorden en la planilla. De resto, es su país de nacimiento, ciudad de nacimiento y aquellos datos los que ya nosotros estamos acostumbrados a llenar en cualquier aplicación acá.
Okay. And just a quick note on city of birth. I've seen several times where legal documents are issued with an incorrect city, or instead of the city, they say, you know, a region or a province or something similar to that. Generally, what you want to do is just have it be accurate. And if it doesn't quite match the information on one of your documents, you can explain that at your interview. But just because a mistake was made on a document does not mean that where you were born has suddenly changed, right? So where you were born is what you should put on here, even if there's a mistake on a document. You can explain that at the interview. It's a lot more, you know, it's a lot easier to explain to an officer why a document was issued with a mistake than to say that I was born in a place where I wasn't born.
Okay. Quisiera hacer una acotación en el número 13, donde habla de la ciudad de nacimiento. Puede ser en ocasiones que se trate de una provincia que no esté mencionada en nuestros documentos de partida de nacimiento, por ejemplo. Entonces en la partida de nacimiento por lo general colocan la ciudad, no colocan en la provincia. No hay ningún problema. Ustedes colocan donde ustedes nacieron, en esa provincia. Y si es necesario aclararle al oficial al momento de la entrevista de que fue ahí donde nacieron, es más fácil hacerlo a la inversa, a decir que nacieron en una ciudad donde no nacieron y cuando estén diciéndolo se les sale el nombre de otra ciudad. Entonces coloquen ahí el nombre de la ciudad de nacimiento, así sea una provincia.
All right. Numbers 16 and 17, they can be straightforward for some people and very difficult for other people. So number 16 asks for your race, ethnic, or tribal group. There are a lot of places in the world where these are foreign concepts. If this is something that you struggle with understanding what you would identify with, maybe ask some other people if they can help you figure it out. There are a lot of asylum claims that are based on the individual's racial or ethnic identity, in which case that's going to be a very important answer. How you're answering that is going to be integral to your case. For other folks, they have never thought about themselves or their identity in this way. If you fall into that category, reach out to our organizations and maybe we can help you with how to answer that if you're unsure about it. Religion, the same. A lot of people identify with no religion, in which case none is a perfectly fine response. Some people identify with more than one religion, in which case, put more than one. Some people will identify with a very specific understanding of a larger religion. Go ahead and have it be as specific or vague or none as you want. It's okay. But do know that if your actual asylum claim has anything related to your racial identity, ethnic identity, tribal identity, or religious identity, your answers here should be consistent and should match what you're saying for the rest of your case. You can't have a case being, as a Christian who converted to Islam and then put on here you're Jewish. Right? Problem. Yeah. All right, so just you want it to make sense and match everything else in your application.
Para la casilla 16 y 17, si tienen algún problema porque nunca han pensado cuál es su raza, etnia o la tribu o el grupo que pertenecen, no hay ningún problema. Pueden acercarse a otra persona similar a ustedes y preguntarle, hey, ¿qué grupo colocamos aquí? O a su organización y preguntarle qué grupo, qué etnia, si no son familiarizados con este término, nunca se han calificado en esta forma. Para la parte de religión aplica exactamente lo mismo. Hay personas que simplemente pueden tener varias religiones, puedes colocar ahí más de un caso, si eres de dos tipos de religiones, o si no eres de ninguna, no lo dejes en blanco, coloca none. Si estás, por ejemplo, colocando un caso de asilo en donde tu problema es por persecución por tus creencias religiosas y dices que eres cristiano, pero escribes aquí que eres judío, obviamente va a tener un problema. Entonces lo importante es mantener la coherencia, decir la verdad y colocar ahí lo que aplique o lo que tú te sientas identificado con la religión. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're on question 18, which asks, are you in immigration court? Are you not in immigration court? Have you ever been in immigration court? So most of the people who are in this room, I believe, are applying or intending to apply for asylum are not currently in immigration court and never have been. So that's A, right? I've never been in immigration court proceedings. When they say immigration court proceedings, that's not actually asking, have you stepped inside a courthouse for immigration? It's asking if you've ever been requested to do so. So if you have been told that you have to appear before an immigration judge, but you didn't go, that still means you've been in immigration court proceedings, okay? some people are first placed in immigration court proceedings, and then they choose to file an asylum application as a defense to being removed from the United States, in which case you'd fill out B, I am now in immigration court proceedings, and C, which says I am not now in immigration court proceedings, but I have been in the past. There are a multitude of scenarios that would encompass that answer. It's a much more rare answer to choose here. Generally, people fall within answering A or B. Okay?
Para la pregunta 18, estamos en la casilla 18. Esto aplica dependiendo obviamente de cuál es nuestro caso. Yo estoy segura que la mayoría de las personas que están aquí van a aplicar por asilo, comenta ella, pero para el caso de aquellas que han sido solicitadas para que vayan a la Corte de Inmigración, deben de marcar entonces la opción A. La opción A que dice yo he estado, o yo nunca he estado, perdón, en nuestro caso, perdón, yo nunca he estado en un proceso con la Corte de Inmigración, para aquellos que estamos metiendo nuestra aplicación de asilo por primera vez. Puede ser el caso de aquellos que piden, por ejemplo, un asilo defensivo y son enviados primero a la Corte de Inmigración antes de poder aplicar a esta planilla. Entonces ellos marcan la opción B, que es sí, a mí me están mandando ahora en este momento para una Corte de Inmigración. Y para aquellos que simplemente ahorita no están en Corte de Inmigración, pero en su momento estuvieron en un proceso con la Corte de Inmigración, entonces marcan la opción C.
Okay. All right, number 19, this is a larger box on the page, and this is asking about all of the entries that you've had into the United States, okay? So first it asks on letter A, when did you last leave your country? So this is the last date that you were in your country of citizenship, okay? Even if you were living in a different country for 20 years, anytime on an asylum application it says your country, they're referring to the country of the passport that you hold, okay? I just noticed that this new form asks for a month that has apparently 3 digits in it. They don't do good proofreading, all right? This is what we're up against. This is a bureaucracy with, yeah, they're probably going to put out a new edition soon. There's no need to put 3 digits for the month. It's only 2 possible. All right, so again, we're using the American way of putting out a date here. B asks for your current I-94 number. Does everybody know what that is? Have you guys heard of that? So an I-94 number used to be issued a little square piece of paper when folks would enter the United States. They no longer do paper version. It's all electronic now. So the way to access your I-94 number, if you were never given one on paper, is I know all my advice is always, here's what you Google. You Google I-94, okay? And it's going to be the first thing that comes up. You'll also see a lot of the highway and traffic information for Interstate 94. You can ignore that stuff. So the I-94 page is through, I think it's through the DHS website, but in any event, you'll be taken to a landing page, and there'll be a little button you can click for I-94 record. And then you're going to enter your information, your first name, middle name, last name, your passport number, your date of birth, and the country that issued your passport. And then you're going to search for your I-94 record. Sometimes it'll come up, sometimes it won't, okay? If it doesn't come up, sometimes you can try different variations of your name. I've had it work that way, where sometimes it was just the data was put in incorrectly. So try swapping your first name and last name, for example. If it comes up, what it's asking for is the actual I-94 number. It's a pretty long number. You can just go ahead and write that in. Your I-94 record entry will show the date that you entered the United States, and your passport information, your date of birth, your name, and you can also, using that same information that you put to get your I-94 record, you can get your travel history, which will show all of your places of entering the United States and the dates you came, the dates you've left the United States if you've been going back and forth. But again, not all of it is actually in there, and sometimes it's not all accurate, but it's a good place to start, and everyone should print out their I-94 record and travel history, just so you know what the asylum officer will be able to access on their computer at the same time. If you don't have an I-94 record come up, don't sweat it. It doesn't mean anything bad. It just means that you couldn't access it. So anytime that I'm filling out an asylum application and I'm not able to find the I-94 record online, I just write that it's irretrievable, or I put NA, non-applicable, or cannot find, something like that, just to indicate that you tried to locate it and you weren't able to find it. Okay, and sometimes it's because you entered recently, and sometimes like a year later, magically you can find it on the internet, okay? But they're not going to reject it just because you couldn't find your I-94 number. If you couldn't find it, just go ahead and write that in there. Couldn't find it. Okay.
Para la casilla 19, estamos en la casilla 19, está notando la abogada en este momento que el formato del mes, des en cuenta que tiene 3 dígitos. Eso es un error de ellos, no se guíen por eso. Simplemente lo importante aquí es tener en cuenta que tenemos que escribir en el formato como lo escriben en los Estados Unidos. 2 dígitos el mes, el día y el año. Luego aquí preguntan sobre el número de la I-94. ¿Ustedes saben lo que es la I-94? La I-94 es un documento que te entregan al momento de ingresar a los Estados Unidos. Lo puedes buscar por internet, ella siempre recomienda visitar en Google. Fíjense que nosotros colocamos I-94 y cuando coloqué I-94 en Google me aparece la página oficial donde puedo colocar mis datos. Allí debería aparecer la información más precisa de cuáles han sido las entradas y las salidas que yo he tenido a los Estados Unidos últimamente. No necesariamente todo lo que aparece en esa página web es exacto, es lo que dice ahí, es lo que puede tener errores, pero al menos es una guía para ustedes, porque si se dan cuenta en esta misma casilla 19, tienen que colocar las veces que han entrado y han salido de este país y bajo qué estatus migratorio han estado en este país. Si no encuentran la información de su I-94 en línea, no hay ningún problema, escríbanlo allí, no pude encontrarla. Y ellos les van a explicar, y después en el momento de la entrevista explican al oficial que no pudieron encontrarla. A veces ocurre que sus datos no están porque su entrada fue muy reciente y no está en la página en línea. Pero procuren por favor escribir allí lo más acertado posible, lo más cerca posible, las veces que ustedes se han encontrado aquí en los Estados Unidos.
And also depending on how you entered the United States, if you entered a certain way and you didn't present a passport or the visa, you're not going to have an I-94 number either. Again, you just write N/A, which just means not applicable. Okay.
Y a veces no necesariamente es que no aparece porque entraron muy reciente, a veces es que entraron a los Estados Unidos de una forma en donde no tuvieron que presentar su pasaporte. Entonces, para ese caso, coloquen NA, que es no aplica, N/A. Okay?
All right. Yes.
Just one question I don't understand. Let's say you are from Venezuela as a citizen, but you lived in Colombia for the past 12 years. You don't write this?
Right. So the question is, for your the date you last left your country,
Yes.
what if you haven't lived in your country for 12 years? Then it would be 12 years ago, whatever the last date was that you were in your country of citizenship.
Ok, la pregunta de María fue, vamos a imaginarnos que yo soy venezolana, pero viví por 12 años en Colombia. Entonces, ¿qué fecha escribo allí? ¿Cuándo fue la última fecha que yo estuve en mi país? ¿Cuándo yo dejé mi país? Entonces, la abogado le responde, no importa cuánto tiempo haya pasado, ¿cuándo fue su última fecha que usted salió de su país? Eso es lo que ahí tiene que colocar. ¿Ok?
Excuse me.
Yes.
One question, please. If we have a passport, we can put the passport when we arrive in the JFK airport, right? For example, 24, November 24, 2018.
Okay.
So we expire date is that day, and then we arriving date is that day. But if any, this one we can find it, so we can write down here. I cannot find it.
For the I-94 number?
Yes,
Yeah, you can just write, could not find.
I could not find.
Yeah. Yeah, because you won't always be able to find your I-94 record online through that webpage that was just pulled up on the screen.
Yeah.
If it's not on, if you can't find it, just say I could not find it. That's
So
fine.
the immigration officer, she will be fine. Okay.
Yes. So sometimes by the time you have your interview, it'll be in the system. Other times the asylum officers will have other ways of accessing that number. All that's important is that you show that you tried to locate it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
No sé cuál es la pregunta que hizo, pero hace referencia con la I-94. Ella, me imagino por la respuesta, que está diciendo, bueno, pero ¿qué ocurre si me hacen en la entrevista y todavía yo no tengo el número de la I-94? Entonces ella dice que no se preocupen, o sea, que eso no los detenga. Simplemente colocan, no pudieron encontrarlo en línea. Los oficiales de USCIS van a encontrar la manera de encontrar su información de la I-94. Que eso no sea un problema, ¿ok? Ajá.
All right. Okay, so now we're on C, which asks you to list each entry into the United States going backwards in time from your most recent back to if you have any prior entries before your most recent. Everyone will have the top line filled out because everyone is here if they're applying for asylum in the United States. Not everyone is going to have previous entries. We used to be able to leave these blank. Do you think we can leave these blank anymore? No, we cannot. If you have no previous entries, write none in all those 6 spaces. Okay, really important.
Ok, estamos en la misma casilla 19, pero a la altura de las letras C. Allí tienen que escribir entonces cuándo fue su fecha de entrada aquí, la más reciente a los Estados Unidos. Todos deberíamos de tener esa primera línea de la casilla C dentro del número 19 llena, porque estamos aquí. Es decir, tuvimos una entrada, un lugar donde entramos, el estatus y la fecha cuando expira ese estatus. Las otras 2 líneas si pudieran estar sin llenar, es decir, sin ninguna información, más no sin llenar. ¿Por qué? Bueno, porque puede ser el caso de que no tuvimos entrada anterior a los Estados Unidos. Esta ha sido nuestra primera y nos quedamos aquí para solicitar asilo. Pero si no tenemos otra entrada anterior a los Estados Unidos, más que la reciente en la que estamos, ¿vamos a dejar esas planillas, esos datos en blanco? No, colocamos ninguno, pero no lo dejamos en blanco, ¿ok?
Right.
Caitlin,
Yes.
you say the airport or New York?
I was just going to get to that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm almost there. Maria's always a step ahead of us, isn't she? Really quickly, before we get there, if you have more than 3 entries to the United States, you do need to list all of them. So that's an example of when we're going to use the supplement page, okay? Is then you can put them on there, all right? Because we do need to list every single entry.
Ok, si ustedes tienen más de una entrada a los Estados Unidos y aquí solamente te permiten listar 2 más, eso es un buen ejemplo para utilizar la planilla suplementaria que está de las páginas 11 y 12. Entonces aquí ustedes listan el resto de las veces que han entrado a los Estados Unidos si no te alcanza aquí.
All right, so let's talk about for each entry that we list, what are we actually putting on these lines? So date is self-explanatory. That's the date you actually landed in the United States, okay? And again, use the American month, day, year to designate that date. Place, I normally just put the city and the state. You're welcome to also put the airport, Maria, if you want to designate that. For example, New York City has a couple different major international airports, so if you want to put the airport code as well, that's okay. Status means, did you enter on a visa or not? If you came in on a B1 or B2 visit visa, then you put, B1 visitor. If you came in on a student visa, you'd write F1 student. If you came on another type of visa, you'd write that visa category. And if you entered without inspection, without having legal documents allowing you to enter the United States, usually what we write is EWI, which stands for entered without inspection. So for example, if you crossed one of the borders and you did not interact with immigration officials while you entered the United States and then you're later applying for asylum, that's what you could write under status. Date status expires. For most people, if you come in on a visa, it usually gives you a specific amount of time that you're permitted to stay in the country using that visa. For example, a lot of visit visas that folks have are 6 months, okay? And on your I-94 record and then also in your passport when it was stamped at the airport, it will say the date that is 6 months out, and that's the date you want to put in here. Some people that enter on other kinds of visas, for example, a student visa, I apologize in advance for saying so much. A student visa will have D/S, that means the duration of status. So some visas, they don't actually have an expiration date. It means this visa is valid for as long as you maintain the requirements that allow you to continue to use this visa and to stay in this form of status. If you entered without inspection, then the date status expires would be either not applicable or none or something similar. Okay?
So they don't need to put D always?
D/S, you only write that if that's what the U.S. government also wrote on your I-94 record or on your passport when they gave you the visa stamp.
Okay. Ok, vamos entonces a ir con unos ejemplos para cómo llenar cuando estamos en los Estados Unidos. Entonces, la fecha, tenemos que colocar en la fecha cuando aterrizamos, llegamos aquí a los Estados Unidos. Igualmente en las veces anteriores. Cuando habla del lugar, para el caso de ella como abogado, dice, coloco la ciudad y el estado donde llegué, Nueva York, por ejemplo. Pero también es válido colocar los aeropuertos internacionales por donde entramos. Nueva York, por ejemplo, tiene varios puertos internacionales. El Kennedy, el Newark, cualquiera de esos, es válido colocarlo y el estado. ¿Ok? Cuando hablamos del estatus, o cuando ellos aquí preguntan el estatus, se refieren a la visa. ¿Con qué visa entraste a los Estados Unidos? Puede ser la de visitante, que es la visitor visa, la B1 o la B2. Entonces colocas B1, visa. Si es la de estudiante, la F1, estatus. Eso es lo que tienes que colocar allí, ¿ok? Si por el contrario no entraste con ningún tipo de visa, entonces colocas las siglas EWI, que significa entrar con sin ninguna inspección. Entonces esas son las siglas que se colocan, aunque déjame preguntarle a ella, EWY, do you have to write down that letters or just
I mean, there's not a lot of space.
Okay, I
so
see.
that's why we generally tend to use these acronyms and things, because you couldn't really write entered without inspection without needing a magnifying glass. You can also just write none. Anything that requires a longer explanation, you're welcome to write none or something.
Tú puedes entonces también incluso escribir ninguno, pero sí, las siglas son EWI, que significa Entry Without Inspection, que significa entraste sin ninguna inspección. Pero para no hacerlo muy largo, se coloca el acrónimo. Si no, no hay problema, puedes colocar ninguno, que ya luego con el oficial te vas a entender. Y para el caso de la fecha de expiración de su estatus, hace referencia a la fecha de expiración de tu visa. En nuestro caso, bueno, generalmente son 6 meses, coloca se va a expirar en 6 meses. Si no tienes fecha de expiración porque no entraste con ninguna visa, coloca el non, y ya luego el oficial lo más seguro es que te va a colocar un dato, un acrónimo de ellos que hace referencia a que, bueno, entraste sin ningún tipo de inspección, no tiene nada que se te vaya a vencer.
Maybe also have the D/S for the...
Yes, I said about the acronym, but I don't remember exactly the meaning for the...
Okay, so some visas are valid for the duration of the status of that visa. So they'll write D/S on your I-94 record or in your passport. So if that's what is given as the date, which is actually not a date, that's what you would write here.
Okay. Entonces, algunas visas, por ejemplo, como la visa de estudiante, ellos escriben D/S, que significa dirección de estatus. Es decir, no es una fecha, pero es una visa con la que estás entrando que ahorita no tiene una fecha de expiración. Pero son los acrónimos que utilizan los oficiales de inmigración.
Okay.
I have one more question. So for me, I can write down the place here, so mine is by a day. No, for me, I can write down the place.
So place means where did you land in the United States?
So JFK Airport.
Yeah, you can put New York, JFK. That's all fine.
Okay, so I can write down the date. So the date is 2018, November.
So you're going to write 11/24/2018.
Thank you.
Exactly. Yes, you're welcome. Okay, are we clear on all those dates? All the entry stuff? Okay. You probably thought this was a lot more straightforward until I started talking about it. Sorry to take that away from you. Okay, numbers 20, 21, and 22. This is asking about the document that you used to get to the United States, or if you came in without a visa and you have a passport or travel document, you can still put this information in, okay? Some people have more than one nationality and thus more than one passport. You can only really fit the passport information for one passport at a time. So if we have anyone with dual or multiple citizenship, you can include the other passports on the supplement form, okay? But really what they want here is the one that you use to enter the United States, if you did in fact use a passport to enter the United States. So number 20 is asking which country issued your passport. This is asking for your citizenship, right, that corresponds with the passport, your passport number, and the expiration date of your passport, again using the American date system. Some people have travel documents instead of passports. Even though a passport is a travel document, if it's a passport, then you don't have a travel document that you use to come here, you write none. Okay?
Okay, para las casillas 20, 21 y 22 hace referencia a nuestro pasaporte, ¿verdad? Y dónde fue emitido nuestro pasaporte y el número de nuestro pasaporte. Para aquellas personas que tengan más de una nacionalidad, lo importante para aquí, en este caso, puedes utilizarlo, puedes decirle el resto de los datos de tu pasaporte, pero utilizas la planilla suplementaria para colocar el resto de tus datos de tus otros pasaportes, de tus otras nacionalidades. Pero lo importante en estas casillas es que debes de colocar el pasaporte que usaste para ingresar a los Estados Unidos. Ese es el dato clave aquí. Y bueno, de resto, tomar en cuenta que la fecha de expiración, siempre, muchachos, en cuenta el sistema de cómo se escribe la fecha aquí en los Estados Unidos.
And again, no travel document, you just write none for that.
Y si no tienes un documento o un pasaporte para viajar, pero tienes un documento para viaje, bueno, colocas ahí los documentos de viaje, aunque no es un pasaporte, pero se debe especificar.
Okay. All right, number 23 asks, what is your native language? Some people, they were raised with more than one native language. If that's the case for you, you can go ahead and indicate that. But at least one thing needs to be in here, right? This is your native language. This is the language that you want to use for all the important things in your life, okay? A lot of people's languages will have specific dialects. If that's the case for your native language, go ahead and indicate that here. The reason this is so important is because the asylum office is going to be relying on this to figure out how to conduct the interview. And the court also, if your case is an immigration court, this is what the judge is going to look at to determine which interpreter they're trying to get to assist with your interview. Let's say you are from a place that has been colonized by a European country that has an official language from Western Europe, but you speak an indigenous language or you speak a dialect that is more rare. Please indicate that on here. Even if you feel fairly confident in the other language, it's really important that this is indicated here because the U.S. government wants to make sure that they know that they can communicate with you effectively and that down the line they're not going to run into a problem of you not being able to answer their questions or understand their questions or you communicate with them properly. Okay?
Casillas 23. Aquí tienen que colocar, lamentablemente, si hablen más de un idioma, tengan adicionales dialectos, formas de hablar, deben de colocar solamente uno. Y aquel con el que ustedes se sientan bien seguros y bien confiados. Este es mi idioma, esto es lo que yo hablo. La razón por la que este campo aquí es muy importante, especificar cuál es la lengua con la que ustedes se sienten cómodos de hablarlo, es porque de esta manera el oficial sabe qué es lo que va a venir, cómo va a venir preparado para la parte de los intérpretes, e incluso el juez de inmigración, si el caso llegara a pasar para la corte, sabe con qué lengua ustedes se sienten mejor para comunicarse. Si es el caso de que hablan una lengua y se sienten de aquellos países que son colonizados por países europeos, entonces existe una lengua oficial, pero realmente ustedes tienen otro tipo de lengua indígena, por decirles un ejemplo, colóquenlo sin sentirse mal de expresarlo, porque es la lengua con la que ustedes se sienten más cómodos en comunicarse, pero solo deben escribir una ahí.
Okay. 24 asks, are you fluent in English? The only answers available are yes or no. There's not a kind of, okay? So just pick the one that feels right for you. Don't be embarrassed about saying no if you're not fully fluent in English. One of the risks of saying that you are fluent and then not having an interpreter is they're gonna say, all right, let's move forward in English, and you're like, ooh, I was kidding, right? So if you're not fully fluent in English, mark no and don't worry about it. Nobody's judging anything about that. If that's the correct answer, that's the correct answer. 25 asks, are there any other languages you speak fluently? Again, this is not, a resume where you can say, I speak conversational French. That's not what they're asking. They want to know fluency, that you can read, write, and speak without any trouble. Those are the only languages that you should be listing here, okay?
Para la 24 y la 25 solamente existen dos opciones. O habla fluido inglés o no habla fluido inglés. No puede existir, bueno, más o menos, yo como por ahí, no. Entonces no te sientas mal si colocas no, porque es lo mejor. ¿Qué ocurre si dices sí y vas a la oficina de inmigración con un intérprete? No tiene sentido, ¿verdad? Entonces lo importante, no te sientas mal, esto no es una prueba, esto no es estás entregando un currículo para aplicar un trabajo, no. Simplemente di no si no eres fluido en el idioma inglés. La pregunta 25 hace referencia a qué otra lengua hablas. Nuevamente, no es porque estamos aplicando un trabajo ni estamos colocando aquí nuestro resumen curricular. Es simplemente que ellos quieren saber qué otra lengua tú te sientes cómodo y hablas fluido, escribes bien y lees bien. Si ese es tu caso, por favor, colócalo allí.
All right. And if we're not fluent in any other languages, what do we write?
Y si no son fluidos en otra lengua, ¿qué escriben ahí?
I should have brought gold stars to give out.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone's doing very well with the none question. All right, we're flipping the page. All right, page 2. Pages 2 and 3 are information about one spouse. Under U.S. law, you're only allowed to have one at a time. And then children. They give you space for 4 kids. If you have more than 4, you'll need to use those supplement pages, okay? For the spouse and the children, It doesn't matter where they are living or where they physically are in the world at the time you're filling this out. You need to list the spouse and children if you have them, okay? Because these questions will also allow you to indicate whether they are here in the United States or whether they're living somewhere else. But don't leave them out just because they're not in the United States or if they're not applying for asylum with you, okay?
Ok, finalmente pasamos a la página número 2, en donde yo espero que todos tengan un solo esposo y escriban aquí que tienen un solo esposo. Entonces esta parte número 2 habla de su esposo, de su esposo y sus hijos. Solamente les permite listar hasta 4 hijos, pero no hay ningún problema. Recuérdense, está la hoja suplementaria donde pueden escribir si tienen más de 4 niños. Aquí lo importante es escribir los datos de su esposo y de sus hijos, así ellos no se encuentren en los Estados Unidos, así ellos no estén dentro de su aplicación de asilo. Tienen que escribir igualmente el nombre de su esposo y de sus hijos, ¿ok? Eso aquí es la clave que ella más menciona.
I'm not going to go through every single question that is asked about each of these family members, but I want to point out a few things, which again, if they do not have an alien registration number or a social security number, or if they're not in the United States and they obviously don't have any immigration status here, your answer should still be none for all of those questions, right? Because we're not leaving anything blank anymore, okay? If they've never been in the United States, you can write never. A lot of people are going to be filling out this form on their computer, and whatever software they're using will not always allow you to write in things. Don't worry about it. Print it out and handwrite it, okay? It's better to have it handwritten than to leave anything blank and have it rejected by immigration and have to start over. Okay?
No quiero ir sobre cada punto en la planilla. Básicamente mencionarles que aquí lo importante es que no pueden dejar ningún campo en blanco. Si es el caso, por ejemplo, de que su esposo nunca estaba en los Estados Unidos y ahí se lo preguntan, coloquen none, pero no dejen ningún campo en blanco. Yo particularmente les recomiendo, yo sé que muchas personas hacen o llenan esta aplicación en línea, está muy bien que lo hagan, pero para evitar que dejen algún campo en blanco, no hay ningún problema que lo impriman y lo llenen a mano. De esta manera nos aseguramos de que todo está bien escrito.
Okay, so for each person, you'll see there's a question that asks, is this person in the U.S.? If no, write where they are, and if yes, complete the rest of the questions. Even if we say no and we put where they currently are, the city and country, please just go ahead and write N/A in all the lower boxes, because I don't want anything left blank on any of your forms, okay? Even though it says, you know, basically to skip it. We're not skipping anything ever again.
Ajá.
Okay.
Escriban A, que no aplica, en todas aquellas casillas donde simplemente nada de lo que ahí les preguntan aplica a ustedes. Lo importante aquí, y vuelve a hacer hincapié, es no dejar ninguna casilla en blanco.
Okay, and you'll see that there are boxes for you to check, I am not married, right? You can check that box. Are we going to skip filling out N/A anyway? No, we're still going to do it. Yeah. Yeah. Take the time to do it. I know I'm being overly cautious with this, but I'm seeing these come back to me for the smallest thing missing. I don't want that to happen to anybody who's here or who's listening. Yes, Maria? Yeah.
Number 21, if the children are not in the U.S. but want to be included?
Okay. You can only include your spouse or children if they are in the United States.
What about if they are
You cannot apply for asylum as a principal applicant for asylum or as a dependent spouse and child without being physically present in the United States.
So you would write no, even if you have children?
You don't write anything because it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to you. The yes or no, do you want to include your spouse or child in your application, is only applicable if that person is actually here in the United States. Okay, and there are various reasons that people would say no, even if their spouse or children are here. But if they're not here, you don't need to worry about that question at all, because it's not legally possible to include a spouse or child on your asylum application if they are not physically in the United States.
Ok, la pregunta de María fue, ¿qué ocurre si mi esposo y mi hijo no están en los Estados Unidos? ¿Qué marco ahí? En la pregunta 21, ¿qué marco ahí? ¿Sí o no? Caitlin les dice, no marques nada, porque si ellos no están físicamente en los Estados Unidos, ellos no pueden estar dentro de la aplicación de asilo. Solamente pueden estar en su aplicación de asilo si su esposo o esposa e hijos se encuentran físicamente en los Estados Unidos, por lo que no hay problema, esas casillas se dejan así en blanco, no puedes marcar si sí o no, porque es que ellos no están físicamente acá. La otro que hizo nuevamente mención el abogado es sí. Si ninguna de las casillas aplica porque ustedes no están casados, como pregunta la primera casillita aquí, pues ustedes se van a dedicar el tiempo a escribir en cada una de las casillas que aquí aparece NA, no aplica. No aplica porque no es su caso, pero no lo dejen en blanco, ¿ok? Ella dice, yo sé que me puedo poner un poquito insistente con que coloquen algo en eso, never, none, no aplica, pero tienen que hacerlo porque he recibido planillas de vuelta por los más sencillos detalles y no queremos que eso nos ocurra a nosotros.
So what I do when I'm filling this out for someone who is not married and has no children, and I'm on pages 2 and 3, is I pick a song I really love and I put it on repeat, and I just write N/A, N/A, all the way down every single box on pages 2 and 3. Just, it's not worth the risk anymore, guys. Okay.
Lo que yo hago cuando tengo clientes que no tienen esposos ni tienen hijos, bueno, lo que se hace es que agarra a alguien que tú quieras mucho y que te ayude a llenar la planilla 2 y 3 colocando N/A, N/A, pero ninguna casilla de estas dos, si no aplica porque no tiene ni esposos ni hijos, las puedes dejar en blanco. Tienen que tener esa información. Okay.
All right, we're on, oh, yes.
Mi esposa que va y viene, ¿qué debo hacer?
No tiene que estar aquí cuando aplicas, corazón.
Entonces ahorita no.
Sí.
Solamente no valgo.
Yes, she needs to be here in order to be included in your application
That's
form.
exactly
Yeah.
right. That's exactly right. Okay, so page 4 is asking for your address history, your employment history, your education history, and the information about your family members who are not your spouse and children. Okay? So number 1 is asking, what's the last address you had in your country before you came here? Going back to Maria's example, if you are Venezuelan but you were living in Colombia before you came to the United States, you're going to list your last address in Venezuela with the dates you lived there and your last address in Colombia and the dates you lived there if you came to the United States from Colombia. Okay? Yeah, so what it says here is list the last address you lived before coming to the United States. If this is not the country where you fear persecution, which would be the country of your nationality, also list the last address.
Okay,
from that
perfecto. Okay. Vamos entonces con la planilla la página número 4, ¿cierto? Aquí básicamente escribir todo nuestro pasado. Entonces, la primera pregunta, vamos a buscarnos en esa. Dicen que listes o que escribas ahí la última dirección en la que estuviste antes de llegar aquí a los Estados Unidos. Por ejemplo, si tú eres venezolano y antes de llegar aquí a los Estados Unidos estuviste en Colombia, colocas la dirección de Venezuela y la dirección donde estuviste en Colombia, antes de llegar aquí a los Estados Unidos. ¿Me siguen?
Pero yo salí de Colombia, primero estuve en Colombia, llegué y salí.
But what about if only a transit?
Okay, transit, don't worry about it. It's just asking place where you physically resided. You lived at a residence with an address. Airports, we don't worry about that.
Ajá. Si es por tránsito, no te preocupes. Tú no tienes que colocar nada porque tu última dirección fue en Venezuela. Es solamente si estuviste un tiempo ahí como residente. Ahí es cuando tienes que listar las dos direcciones. Okay?
All right, and you'll notice that the dates they ask for, thankfully they don't ask for the complete, the specific date. They're just asking for month and year that you began living at that address and the month and year that you stopped. Make sure the month and year that you stopped corresponds with the month and year you entered the United States. Okay?
May I have one question, please?
Hold on just 1 second. We're going to just interpret that and then we'll get just one.
Noten en esta parte de la fecha acá, que menos mal, nada más pregunta el mes y el año, ¿no? Lo que tienen que estar pendientes, por favor, es que van a colocar el mes y la el año, el mes y el año, que, por favor, estén pendientes, que corresponda con que la última vez que estuvieron allí, corresponda ya luego con la entrada aquí a los Estados Unidos. ¿Okay? Que no vaya a haber luego diferencias con esa parte. Moja con eso. Y bueno, nada más les pregunta, es el mes y el año, menos mal no.
Right. I mean, even if you're maintaining a residence in your home country, you own property or you're paying a mortgage or something like that, they're going to expect that the month and year you stopped living there is when you left your country. Okay?
Inclusive si ustedes tienen propiedades allá, discúlpame Ángel, inclusive si ustedes tienen propiedades allá o todavía están pagando una hipoteca o están pagando algo correspondiente a alguna propiedad que tienen todavía en su país, no hay problema. Ustedes tienen que colocar ahí la última fecha que estuvieron en su país, la fecha que lo dejaron. Esa es la fecha que USCIS asume, ustedes se fueron de allí. Ya no está más ahí. ¿Ok?
Okay, now we had a couple questions.
Yeah. No, tú, tienes que hacer las preguntas.
What is the provinces of
Okay,
state?
so you'll see here the way that they ask us to complete the address is the number and street, the city, the town, the department, province, or state, and then the country. Not every address is going to have this make sense for the way to provide the address. Do the best that you can to make it fit in here. If there's any number associated with the home or the street, that should go first. City or town is self-explanatory. Department, province, or state, some countries will divide their territory into smaller segments, like in the United States, New York, New Jersey, these are two separate states of 50. Not every country does this. Generally what I do if it's a country that doesn't have this designation is I'll just repeat the city again, or I'll just put N/A. Okay, some countries will say northern region or the greater region of Accra or something like this, right? You can put that if you want. At the end of the day, just put something that makes sense. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And did you have a question too?
Yeah, my question is in the days when you have to do the address,
Mm-hmm.
the format is the same, month, 2 digits, and
Yep.
the years, 4 digits.
Exactly. I know they change it up here and they ask for 2 digits for the year. You're welcome. You're welcome to do 2 digits for the.
You know, the month,
Mhm.
year, but they don't put the format.
If you're looking for anything that makes sense or is consistent, this is not the place to. What's most important is to follow their lousy directions as best you can, and to have it make sense so that anybody reading this will understand. I tend to like to include 4 digits for the year just so that there's no question. But they do ask for 2, so you're welcome to do. Technically, that's right. Did you want to interpret about the department,
Yes,
province, state
yes.
thing? Just
La
okay.
pregunta que hizo la muchacha que está aquí sentada hacia adelante fue básicamente cómo lleno esta dirección. La abogada le responde, llena lo más cercano que tú puedas. Entiendo que no en todos los países clasifican la dirección de la forma como lo hacen aquí. Por ejemplo, si no aplica que tenga un número y una calle, pero si tienes un número que es el número del apartamento, empieza por ahí. Coloca el número del apartamento y luego la calle de donde tú vivías en Venezuela, en este caso, poniendo como ejemplo. La parte de la ciudad o el pueblo, eso aplica, eso es general, yo creo que para todos los países, pero la opción de departamento, provincia o estado, no todos los países clasifican a sus estados de esta manera, pero, por ejemplo, aquí en los Estados Unidos está Nueva York, New Jersey, como separando los estados. Nosotros tenemos exactamente lo mismo, aplica para nosotros igual. Pero lo importante aquí es que, independientemente no se ajuste a la forma como nosotros escribimos nuestra dirección, traten de hacer lo que tenga el más sentido posible, que se acerque más a lo que ellos están preguntando acá. ¿Ok? Yeah.
All right. Okay, the next question asks you to list every address you have lived at for the past 5 years. You're going to start with where you live now in the United States and work your way back in time. Okay? And we just want it to cover 5 years. All right, so don't worry about doing any more than that. If you need more space because you've moved around and had a lot of addresses in 5 years, again, we just pull out the supplement. Okay, it's not a big deal. And I know that on the form it only has, supplement A, supplement B. If you need multiple pages of supplement A or B, it's unlimited. Okay, print out as many as you need to complete the answers to all the questions.
Ok, para el bloque número 2, esta parte aquí, básicamente quieren que tú listes o que indiques dónde has vivido en los últimos 5 años. No más de allí, solamente en los últimos 5 años. Si es el caso tuyo de que has vivido en diferentes lugares durante los últimos 5 años, especifícalo allí. Si has vivido en muchísimas otras partes y no te da el alcance, recuérdate, está la planilla de suplementario, complemento, ¿ok? Si no te alcanza la planilla porque has escribido en cuestiones anteriores otras cosas, no hay ningún problema. Ustedes pueden imprimir cuantas necesiten. Lo importante es que lo agreguen de más aquí si no les alcanza de lo que están colocando acá.
Alrighty. Okay, number 3 is asking for your education history. This one is not limited to 5 years. They actually want to know all the schools or educational institutions that you have attended throughout your life. Again, working your way back is helpful. The most recent school should go at the top. And I say that because oftentimes the asylum officer will simply ask, what was your highest level of education? And they can just look at it first. So the name of the school, the type of school, basically what that means is, was it primary school, was it secondary school, university, a graduate school for a certain program, was it a certificate in a foreign language or some specific degree, whatever it is, you can put it in there. Location, they say address, good luck fitting it in that box. I usually do city and country, okay? And then attended, these are the dates that you were actually enrolled in the school, month and year that you began, and then the month and year that you completed the program, or that you stopped attending the school, even if you didn't finish the program, that's what you put in there.
La pregunta número 3 hace referencia a todo lo que es su educación. Aquí nuevamente ellos preguntan hasta 5, creo, si no estoy contando mal acá, pero no importa, coloquen lo que puedan colocar allí, porque ellos sí necesitan saber cuál es su background o su currículum en cuanto a educación. Es importante que se coloque el nombre de la escuela, y estamos claros a qué hacen referencia, de donde la escuela que asistimos. Cuando dicen tipo de escuela, básicamente lo que quieren saber es si es la universidad, si es el bachillerato, si es la escuela primaria, ahí lo deben de colocar. En la locación, fíjense que ellos colocan dirección entre paréntesis, pero bueno, ahí en ese espacito no va a caber la dirección completa. Lo que el abogado sugiere que ella hace es colocar la ciudad y el país, ¿ok? Y en el año colocamos el mes y el año en que comenzamos y el mes y el año en que terminamos. No necesariamente implica que completamos toda la carrera universitaria, por ejemplo, pero el mes que paramos esos estudios. Perdón, el mes y el año en que paramos esos estudios. Ahí se coloca esa información.
Okay. All right, and number 4 asks for your employment history. Again, this is limited to 5 years, so you don't have to do your whole life, thank goodness. So again, you're starting with your current employment, if you are currently employed at the time you submit your application. If you're not, then you can write none. None, 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 right? All the way across the line. And then the second line, you'll start with the most recent job that you did have. Yes?
Caitlin, I was told that it's better if you are writing off the books, that it's still better to write it. Is that correct?
So this is,
I mean, this is a Spanish word,
all right,
but
so
it's actually-
the way I can answer this and keep my law license is by telling everybody that when you sign your asylum application, you are promising the U.S. government that everything in your application is true and correct, and that when you have your interview and answer these same questions during your interview, you are doing so being placed under oath, which is a legal promise to the U.S. government that everything is true and correct, for which there are legal consequences if you lie under oath. I can also tell you that for purposes of seeking asylum in the United States, if you have worked in the country without work authorization, that will not prevent you from being granted asylum. That's as far as I can go, Maria. Indicating on your asylum application that you are currently working in the United States, even though you do not have work authorization. If that is true, then that is the honest answer, and it will not be held against you to deny your asylum application. Okay? But again, we're going back 5 years with all the jobs that we've held, and we're indicating, so I know, again, it says name and address. It's unlikely you'll be able to sometimes even fit the name of the company in this line. If you need more room, we can go to that supplement B, and again, for address, you can put the city and the country if that's all that you can really fit in here. Occupation is just asking what your job title was. You don't need to do a long description of your job responsibilities. And again, the date's just the month and year you started the work and the month and year you ended. If you are currently employed while you, at the time that you submit your application, then it's obviously the month and year you started. And the second date, you can just write present, okay, or currently, or something like that.
Ok, para la casilla número 4 estamos nuevamente hablando hasta 5 años. Coloca Caitlin, recuérdense de utilizar la suplementaria si no les alcanza allí, de lo que es su historia de empleo, ¿no? María le comenta, ella le pregunta, ¿qué ocurre si yo estoy trabajando mientras espero mi aplicación de asilo o estoy metiendo una aplicación de asilo y yo no tengo permiso de trabajo? Katie, para lo que Caitlin le responde, bueno, ustedes recuérdense que al momento de que vayan a hacer la entrevista para el asilo, ustedes van a estar bajo juramento, y ese bajo juramento le implica a ellos que ustedes todo lo que están escribiendo aquí, lo que están diciendo aquí, es la verdad. Entonces, bajo esa premisa, quiero que sepan, comenta ella, que si ustedes colocan allí que están trabajando y no tienen ustedes un permiso de autorización, esto no va a ir en contra de su caso de asilo. Es lo más que puede decir, pero saben que si no tienen un permiso de autorización, me refiero de empleo, es algo que ustedes están asumiendo bajo su propia responsabilidad. El hecho es nuevamente que colocar aquí su experiencia laboral, Si están trabajando actualmente al momento de que hicieron la solicitud y tienen la entrevista y todavía siguen trabajando en ello, colocan entonces el mes y el año cuando comenzaron en ese trabajo acá, y si están todavía en ese trabajo, en donde dice tú, que dice mes y año, colocan present o current, que significa que todavía yo estoy en eso, eso es lo que yo hago actualmente, ¿correcto? Y como les comentó ella, si tienen más de la experiencia laboral, que aquí necesitan más espacio, utilicen la planilla suplementaria.
Okay. Yes, we have a question.
En el caso de que cuando, o sea, cuando yo hice la aplicación de asilo, no estaba trabajando, pero sí, ¿qué sucede? O sea, no sucede nada.
When I submitted,
Antes de, o sea,
ajá.
en el periodo que sin permiso de trabajo, pero igual conseguí un empleo, estuve trabajando, pero ya hice mi aplicación.
Okay, what happened in the case where when I submitted my application, I wasn't working, and now I'm working, so what shall I do in that?
Yeah, it's very common that you will have a job you didn't have before. You'll have a new phone number, a new address. Maybe you've got, a baby was born. The beginning of the asylum interview, it starts with a review of the first 4 pages of your application, and if there are any updates to make, that's the time to do it. As long as it was accurate at the time you submitted it, that's fine.
Okay, no hay problema.
And very common, very common.
Es muy común que ocurra que el momento en que yo apliqué por asilo, yo no trabajaba, no tenía bebé, ahora tengo bebé, ahora trabajo, cambió la dirección, cambió mi número telefónico. Por eso es muy importante que sepan que el comienzo de la entrevista de asilo es revisar toda esta parte. Y es un perfecto momento para actualizar si es el caso. Okay, así que es muy común, no hay problema. Se puede decir en el momento.
Okay. And the final little box on here is asking about information about your parents and siblings. It's asking for names, the city and country that they were born in, and the city and country they currently live in. A lot of people need multiple supplemental pages to this. That's fine, as many as you need to list everybody. Siblings include half-siblings, and all of these family members, if they are no longer living, they must still be listed. And then there's a box that you can mark to indicate if they are no longer living, but they all do need to be listed on here. Okay.
Para la última casilla, que es la número 5, aquí están preguntándonos información acerca de nuestro papá, nuestra mamá, padre, madre y hermanos. Preguntan entonces la ciudad o el pueblo y el país de nacimiento y la locación actual, donde ellos están viviendo actualmente. Si es el caso de que sus padres o alguno de sus hermanos no se encuentra con vida, entonces marcamos esta casilla de que ya no está con nosotros, está muerto. Esto, cuando hablan de los hermanos, que es el sibling, incluye a los medio hermanos. También deben ser listados acá, ¿ok? Si no aplica, recuérdense no dejarlo en blanco.
All right, yes. Okay, so one of the things that, I'll get to you in just a moment, thank you. One of the things that we've been noticing as the reason that immigration is rejecting asylum applications is this ridiculous box here that we're talking about right now. I myself only have 2 siblings, and I would have my application rejected if I didn't indicate that I don't have 4. None across for any of these that don't apply. Fill it out any way they are rejecting asylum applications if you're not indicating that you don't have 4 siblings.
Ok, es importante que sepan que por esta cajita tontica que está aquí al final han rechazado aplicaciones de asilo. Les explico por qué. Por ejemplo, en mi caso, yo tengo solamente 2 hermanos y yo coloco aquí que tengo 2 hermanos, pero entonces dejo las otras 2 vacías. Por eso me van a rechazar la planilla de asilo. Recuerden, por favor, no dejar ningún campo en blanco, colocan no aplica, ninguno no, pero lo colocan aquí. No dejen los espacios en blanco, por favor.
Okay, question.
I am wondering what happened if I am orphan.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear that.
What happened if I am orphan?
If you're an orphan, okay. So if you do not know the names of your birth parents and you don't have legal guardians or parents who have adopted you, then you can write unknown. Okay. Same if you don't know the current location of any of these family members, you can write unknown. Okay. Or the birthplace, you can write unknown.
Ok, él preguntó qué pasa entonces si yo soy huérfano. Entonces la Caitlin les dice, muy buena pregunta, ¿qué ocurre? Si tú no sabes dónde están tus padres o si tú eres huérfano, o puede ser el caso que tú no sabes dónde ellos están viviendo en este momento, coloquen ahí unknown, que significa desconocido, pero no dejen el campo en blanco. ¿Ok?
En mi caso, yo conozco a mi madre biológica, me crió mi abuela, pero ya
Okay, or no.
Un abuelo.
See, in my case, I know where my
Biological.
biological, thank you, mother is, but I don't know at all my father's, and I don't know even if I have more siblings.
Yeah,
So what
yeah.
happened in that case?
Yeah. So again, unknown, and it's quite common for folks to not know the name of their father, because generally the mother's name will be on the birth certificate, and the fathers are not always on birth certificates. If you do not know the name of your biological father, you can write unknown, and if you don't know if you have other siblings, you're welcome to write none or unknown. That's up to you how you'd like to complete that answer. Generally, the parents' names will correspond to what's on your birth certificate if you have one, or other forms of identity that list parents. If you have both birth parents and legally, adoptive parents or step parents, you can indicate that in Supplement B as well if you want to provide a little explanation to why you wrote unknown or why you want to list more than 2 parents on your form. That's perfectly fine.
Es muy común lo que acabas de comentar, lo puedes, incluso hay partidas de nacimiento que dicen el nombre de la mamá y no dicen el nombre del papá, por lo que tú te puedes sentir completamente seguro de escribir allí ninguno o desconocido. Si quieres colocar, si eres de padres adoptivos, tienes padres adoptivos y quieres especificar eso bien detalladito, puedes utilizar la planilla suplementaria para explicar que tú tienes un padre adoptivo. Es muy común, lo puedes hacer perfectamente.
Okay. And if you have 2 moms or 2 dads, go ahead and indicate that.
Si tienes 2 mamás y 2
Because this question bothers me too.
Si tienes 2 papás y 2 mamás, siéntete libre de escribirlo también, ¿ok?
All right. Okay, so that completes pages 1 through 4, which is the sort of nitty-gritty, time-consuming, all the dates, fill out all the boxes stuff. Okay, are we feeling better about understanding the amount of work that'll go into this? And that's really important for everyone to, double check, triple check that all those dates correspond with the dates in the passports, the birth certificates, the marriage certificates, all of those forms of evidence that you're going to submit in your case. Those dates, it's really important that they match, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Ya hemos completado entonces las primeras 4 preguntas, que son realmente las que hay que tener más precaución al momento de llenar esta planilla. Por favor, asegúrate de chequear y doble chequear y chequear y rechequear todo lo que has escrito, sobre todo las partes de las fechas. ¿Ok? Verifícalo, porque esta es la parte como que dice la que hay que estar más pila.
But again, the interview will begin with a review of pages 1 through 4. And if you have realized that you made a mistake, there's no need to freak out. Don't worry about it. Don't worry even about going to the asylum office or sending them a letter to notify them of the error. You can take care of that at the very beginning of the interview. One of the first questions the officer will ask you is, are there any changes that you'd like to make to your application? And you can come prepared with those changes and just say, oh, I made a mistake, I swapped the month and the year, or excuse me, the month and the day, or I've seen this happen a lot. And I'll be, with couples and they got their marriage date wrong and they're both pointing the finger at one another. It's okay, these mistakes happen, right? Just notify the officer and they will just correct it on your application with a red pen. It's not held against you if you make these minor mistakes. It happens quite frequently. Okay.
Ajá, y nuevamente les recuerdo que estas primeras 4 páginas son las primeras que se revisan al momento de la entrevista de asilo con el oficial de inmigración. Por lo que la primera pregunta que ustedes reciben cuando la entrevista de asilo es, ¿hay algún cambio? ¿Hay alguna actualización en esto? Y entonces siéntanse en la confianza, no se preocupen si saben que cometieron algún error, si saben que pusieron una fecha mal. Ese es el momento para decirlo y actualizar al oficial, ¿ok? O también, antes de que sea esa entrevista, ustedes pueden mandar esa actualización a la oficina de asilo, pero nuevamente, no se preocupen, va a ser la primera pregunta en el momento de la entrevista de asilo y es un momento para hacer la corrección. Errores de este tipo menores ocurren y es un momento para corregirlos, así que no se preocupen.
All right. I'm not going to go through the next 4 pages of the application in as much detail, but there are a few things I'm going to point out, okay? And if there are specific questions on the next 4 pages, you're welcome to ask me at the end, okay? One thing I want to point out is the first question that asks why you're applying for asylum. The same way that we marked the little box at the top of page 1, we're going to mark torture convention again here. No matter what anything about your case deals with specifically, we're always going to go ahead and mark that one off. Okay. And then the other boxes, this is just very case specific. This just is, why are you applying for asylum? Mark as many as apply to you. or that you think apply to you. If people are harming you because of the race you are, go ahead and mark that. If they're harming you because of the race they incorrectly think you are, mark it too. Okay? Mark as many of these as you want. You can have all 6 boxes ticked off. That's just fine.
No pienso ir sobre las próximas 4 páginas en detalle de la forma como lo hicimos con las primeras, pero sí quisiera como hacer un llamado de atención a la pregunta número 1 de esta planilla. Ok, ubíquenseme ahí. ¿Se recuerdan en la primera hoja la casilla que marcamos en la parte superior izquierda, que hace referencia a la Convención Antitortura de los Derechos Humanos? Entonces tienen que marcarme esta que está aquí en esta página. ¿Ok? No se les olvide. De lo otro, ella comenta, incluso sugiere que marquen cuantas sea posible, cuantas sea necesaria. Si están siendo perseguidos porque alguien cree que usted pertenece a una religión o una raza específica que no es la suya, pero alguien lo cree, márquela. No se preocupe. Aquí la idea es marcar cuántas sean las necesarias porque usted está aplicando por asilo. Pero lo importante es que coincida la planilla, la primera casilla con la de tortura. ¿Ok?
Okay. So you'll notice that all of the questions on the next 4 pages begin with asking you yes or no. Right? Does everybody see that? If your answer is no, you can actually, you don't have to write none in the box unless you want to. I mean, at that point, it's probably on, your hand just writes none automatically. But the box needs to be filled in if you write yes, okay? Every question must have either yes or no checked.
Okay, note que en las próximas 4 hojas las comienzan con una pregunta de sí o no. Ok, todas esas preguntas tienen que estar marcadas o bien con un sí o bien con un no. Si marcaron sí, entonces la caja grande que está justo debajo tiene que estar llenada con algo, porque marcaron ese sí. Lo importante acá es que tiene que estar seleccionada alguna de estas 2 opciones. ¿Ok? No vayan a escribir no, al menos que ya vengan acostumbrados a escribir no tantas veces en la parte de atrás y ya su mano está automática escribiendo no.
One of the other recent changes to the way that immigration is processing the applications is they do not want you to write, this is the basic overview of what my case is about, and I'll be providing you more information later, or and I will submit a personal statement or a personal affidavit prior to my interview. Do not reference any evidence that you are not including with your application. This is very important. This is a thing that they recently changed. If you plan on writing a statement, awesome. You should plan on writing a statement. Just don't indicate that you're planning on writing a statement here. Keep your answer in this box, just answering the question of what were the harms or threats to you that you experienced. Don't say, and I'll be sending you tons of evidence later. Don't even talk about that, okay? Because if you say, now, this new rule, if you say in your application, I'm going to submit a statement and this letter from this person and a police report, and it's not attached, now they're saying, well, we're just going to reject it because why are you talking about these things and not including it? So don't reference anything that you're not attaching. Okay?
Ok, esta es la nueva regla de esta pregunta A. Atención, si no van a... literally translate. Atención, si no van a anexar ninguna de las evidencias que están diciendo aquí que pueden anexar o que van a anexar, no lo escriban, porque esto puede ser una razón para que les rechacen su aplicación de asilo. Si en el momento que están haciendo la aplicación de asilo no cuentan con esa carta, no cuentan con ese documento que ustedes saben que puede servirle como evidencia, pero no lo tienen, no lo pueden adjuntar, no lo coloquen. No lo coloquen y no lo digan aquí, porque de lo contrario su aplicación puede ser rechazada.
Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Does everybody understand what I'm saying?
¿Entendieron todo eso? ¿Todo les da sentido, verdad?
Excuse me, please. So we don't
Excuse me.
Oh, I think she's in the, oh yeah. Yeah.
So we don't need to put that down. No, we need to put that as application, but we don't show the note everybody.
If you have evidence that you want to attach to your application, you can. What I'm saying is if you intend to get a piece of evidence or you intend to write your story in more detail than this form allows, don't say that you intend to do that if you're not attaching it. Okay.
Every company, I have the document, right? The history document, statement letter for the officer.
If your statement is done when you submit your application, you're welcome to include it. But don't write in your answer, your answer should be a summary of why you're applying for asylum. It shouldn't say, because here's why this rule is in place. I'll just explain as the backstory. A lot of applications are being filed that instead of actually answering the question of what are the harms and threats that you received in your home country, why did you have to leave, why are you applying for asylum, people would say, I'll explain it at the interview, or I'll send you my personal statement later. And immigration was fed up with that. Okay, so now what they're saying is, don't tell me what you're going to tell me later. Tell me now. Tell me here. Okay? You can still submit evidence later. That's fine. Just don't say, I'll tell you later.
I will tell you later.
Don't write that.
Don't write that.
Don't write that.
Yeah.
Tell it now. Write it now. Say, this happened to me. I was attacked 3 times. I was in prison for 4 months. I was tortured. Blah, 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 blah. Write it here.
Okay, write down.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay?
And then I have that application is your language or my language?
The application must be completed in English. That's a very good question. If you do not, if you are not fluent in English and you are unable to complete this application in English, you need to have somebody who's fluent in your native language and in English help you with it and put their information on page 9. Okay? Page 9 provides the space. Is everyone turning to page 9 at the bottom? This is the space where you write down the information for the person who filled out the form for you if you weren't able to do it yourself. This could be your attorney, or it could be someone who assisted you because you're not fluent in English, okay? But they must be identified on page 9, okay? But the form has to be completed in English. That's just the rule, okay?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Yes, a question in the back. Hi.
Una pregunta en relación con este curso. Si hay pruebas que pueden llegar a posterior tiempo, en algún momento este proceso es permitido.
May I ask, because you already answered that question.
Okay.
He's asking about, may I include the evidence after I submit the
Yes.
application? Yes.
So I'm not saying, let me, maybe I haven't been clear. I am not saying that you have to submit evidence now or you can't submit it later. You can submit evidence later, that's fine. What I am saying is that you must answer the questions asked on the application. You cannot say, I'll submit evidence explaining this later. You have to actually answer the question now. Okay, you can't rely on the future explanation that you're going to give. You must provide an answer to the question in these boxes. Okay, is that clear?
Okay. Básicamente, volviendo a este punto de esta pregunta. Inmigración o el oficial de inmigración te puede devolver la planilla de aplicación de asilo si tú contestas esta pregunta diciendo ¿por qué que estás aplicando asilo? Bueno, yo te lo explico más tarde o yo te lo cuento en la entrevista. No, ustedes no pueden decir eso. Ustedes tienen que responder la pregunta aquí. Si ustedes van a escribir un statement o su caso, lo quieren escribir, perfecto, son libres de hacerlo, pero deben adjuntarlo en el momento que meten la planilla, no es que lo van a poner luego. Sí pueden mandar evidencias más tarde y hacerlo, pero no lo mencionen. No digan, más tarde te voy a mandar la evidencia, o te cuento en la entrevista qué fue lo que me pasó. No, no lo digan. ¿Por qué están aplicando asilo? Díganlo. ¿Quieren escribir un statement? Escribir su historia como una tesis, que es posible hacerlo. Háganlo, pero adjúntenla a la planilla I-589 al momento que les van a enviar. Nuevamente aclara el abogado, sí se pueden enviar evidencias una vez enviada esta planilla a inmigración, pero no digan aquí, te voy a enviar evidencias. Si ustedes piensan que más tarde pueden meter una carta, un testimonio, sí, háganlo, pero no lo digan aquí que lo van a hacer, porque eso puede ir en su contra al momento de recibir la planilla de asilo. Ajá.
Yes.
¿Cuándo podemos nosotros anexar esa evidencia? ¿En el momento que estamos mandando la primera vez o luego cuando recibimos las dos?
No, tú puedes, because it's the same, basically. Sí, al momento que envías la planilla, envías contigo todas las evidencias que tú tengas, y en inglés, todo en inglés, por favor. Al momento que envías la planilla, envías todas tus evidencias que mencionas o que tú sabes que soportan tu caso con la planilla. Si luego de enviar la planilla recibiste tu recibo de que ellos ya la recibieron, estás esperando por tu entrevista, estás colectando más evidencia, siéntete libre de enviarlas e incluso el día de la entrevista entregarlas. Pero lo que dices aquí y lo que haces aquí lo mandas de una vez. No es que más tardecita me llega la carta de fulanito y te la voy a mandar. No, eso no es lo que no. Eso es lo que puede ser producto de que te rechacen tu aplicación. Y si te llegan más luego, las puedes enviar luego.
Okay. You shouldn't be telling immigration what you plan on doing later. You should just be answering the questions.
Sí.
Okay. All right. Yes, Lynn, all the way in the back.
Okay, so how does it work if you actually didn't realize that you actually left something off and you didn't put NA and one of them, then you really
Okay, so the question is
then what do you do?
right. What happens if you missed a box? Okay, immigration will let you know. All right, if they catch it and they're feeling particularly pessimistic about their lives that day, they will reject it and send it back to you with a cover sheet explaining, on page 1, part A1, question 8, you left this blank. Okay, they'll let you know. They may not notice it, in which case you'll get your receipt notice, you'll continue with your case, all is fine in the world. Don't be proactive. I wouldn't be proactive about it. If you realize, oh, I forgot to fill this one thing out, don't send a second application. All right, wait for them to either issue a receipt notice saying that they've accepted your application, they're processing it, or wait for them to send it back to you to be corrected. You don't want to have 2 applications with them at the same time. It can really screw things up. Okay, does that answer your question, Lynn? Okay. The only other question in the second half of the application I wanted to bring to your attention, just because it came up a couple times today, is if you'll turn to page 7 with me.
Vamos a la página 7, muchachos.
So you see there's this question, 2.A. And this question asks, after you left your country, did you or your spouse or children, and again, they're only talking about spouse or children if they also traveled with you, before coming to the United States, did you go through any other country? All right. And the reason I want to point this out is because there have been some questions about what do you do if you were in transit on the way here. Include that in this answer, even if you were just in the airport, and you can just write, I was a transit passenger in Brazil or wherever you were. I never left the airport. Done. But at least that way you've indicated that you were, technically in another country. Okay, so transit passenger, go ahead and indicate that here.
Ok, vamos a la página número 7, a la parte 2A. En la parte 2A le están preguntando si ustedes estuvieron en otra parte antes de estar aquí. Así sea por tránsito, es bueno allí indicarlo. Decir, por ejemplo, que estuve en el aeropuerto por tránsito en determinado país o en determinado lugar. Pero es bueno, por favor, indicarlo aquí, en esta parte. Estamos en la planilla, en la página 7, parte 2A. Basically, right?
And if you did leave the airport, even for a number of hours, you would have had to pass through the immigration component of the airport. So even if you're there for a few hours, you would still say, I was in transit in this country, but I did leave the airport very briefly for 4 hours before, returning to continue. Just make sure that you're being really clear about any of that travel on the way here, if it was not a direct flight, because during the interview that will be a question every single time is, have you ever lived in, resided in, or traveled through any other countries other than your home country in the United States? And they will want to know, even if you were in transit in a dozen countries, they're going to want you to list them. Okay, so might as well get it done now.
Sí, es importante que digan cuál fue su recorrido, pues, en el tránsito o su recorrido para llegar hasta acá. Es importante que lo digan porque ellos van a estar preguntándole constantemente durante su entrevista. Y así sea, nuevamente, que estuviste por tránsito, puedes decirlo y escribirlo. Estuve en tránsito en el aeropuerto de Colombia y duré 4 horas en el aeropuerto esperando. Todo eso lo puedes escribir. Una cosa que se me pasó cuando estábamos respondiendo la parte de los testimonios y las preguntas es que como todo tiene que ser en inglés, en la pregunta número 9 había comentado el abogado que existe una opción donde si hubo una persona que es fluida en inglés y fluida en español y te hizo el favor de escribirte todo, esta es la casilla en la página número 9 que se llena cuando se usa un traductor. Todo lo que estamos hablando aquí, que debe ser escrito en esta planilla, tiene que estar en inglés.
And the reason, I'll get you in just a moment. The reason that we want the reason the asylum office wants the prepare information filled out is because it's the way that the U.S. government confirms that you know what's in here if you are not a native English speaker. Because one of the things that the preparer, who can be, you know, a friend or a family member that's not a part of the application, one of the things that they're saying when they put their name and they sign this portion is that they made sure that you do understand everything that's in here. The U.S. government doesn't want immigration forms to be submitted for people who are unaware of what's in here. And neither do you. You want to know everything that is in your application, because when you sign your name, you're saying it's all true. If you don't know what's in here because you don't understand it, that is your responsibility to make sure that you get it interpreted to you. Right? And it's very important that you find someone that you trust to do that for you, because the last thing that you want is to have a legitimate asylum claim, but then to get just your entire asylum interview just becomes a huge distraction about why you're not aware of what's in your application. Right? Does that make sense?
La razón por la que esta opción en esta página número 9 la están viendo, la que está maximizada aquí, ellos necesitan saber no solamente que tuviste una ayuda en alguien en que tú confiaste, sino que tú estás consciente de absolutamente todo lo que está escrito en esta planilla. Es lo que más les preocupa a ellos, que tú estés consciente, que tú hayas entendido todo lo que llenaste y todo lo que respondiste, porque al momento de firmar la planilla I-589 y enviarla a USCIS es tu responsabilidad, independientemente de que tú no hablas el idioma. Por eso es importante que la persona que te ayuda a llenarla en inglés, que es fluida en español y fluida en inglés, sea de tu confianza, más allá de que sea una persona de que sea fluida, sea de tu confianza, porque todo lo que está escrito aquí, una vez firmado por ti, es tu responsabilidad. Yeah.
Okay, there's a question, yes.
Doctora, ¿qué sucede las personas que hicimos tránsito en un país antes de llegar a los Estados Unidos? ¿Existe la posibilidad de que USCIS rechace la solicitud cuando le enviamos solo por el hecho de que estuvimos en un país que ellos consideran un tercer país seguro? ¿O eso sucede cuando tenemos la entrevista y nos refieren a corte?
Yes, what happened with those who are first in another country that they might consider during the interview that other country can be a safe country for me to ask for asylum, or what happened then?
It will be a part of your interview. if after the point that your fear arose, you were in any other country that has an asylum program as part of the government, and you did not apply for asylum there, you will be asked to explain why you did not. Okay? If you were just in transit and you didn't leave the airport, it should be okay. It's really for folks who left the airport and were, you know, there for any amount of time, but it always comes up. Anywhere that you were before you came here, after your fear of persecution became a fear for you, if you were in any countries that allow asylum applications to be filed and you yourself did not file an application, you'll be asked to explain, you know, why you didn't. And your answer could be a number of different things. It's specific to the situation, but yes, it could come up.
Sí, eso va a ser parte de tu entrevista. Estate preparado para eso. Eso va a ser parte de tu entrevista. Si estamos hablando solamente de tránsito, como es el caso que hemos puesto una y otra vez durante los ejemplos aquí, no hay ningún problema porque estuviste en tránsito. Esto hace referencia si tuviste que quedarte allí por un rato, por un momento, una noche, 2 noches. Va a ser parte de tu entrevista, es algo que lo que tú tienes que estar preparado a responder, porque ellos te van a preguntar por qué entonces no aplicaste asilo en el otro sitio donde estuviste antes de llegar aquí a los Estados Unidos. Sí, sin duda va a ser algo de lo que tienes que estar preparado, sí te lo van a preguntar.
You're welcome. So those are sorry, yes.
Y en el caso de que un abogado te está llenando la planilla, el abogado firma en la página número 9.
In case of a lawyer is the one who is filling out my application, he has to be the one who fill out also the part 9. I mean, for the translation.
Yes. If you had someone prepare your application for you that was not your spouse, your parent, or one of your children, that person should fill out Part E, that box at the bottom on page 9. If they're an attorney, then they fill out some additional stuff, but the attorney would fill it out. Or if you had a professional preparer, somebody who was helping you with the language barrier, then they should be here.
Sí. Si alguien está llenando que no sea tu papá, tu hermano, tu esposo, sí tienes que llenar esta parte aquí, un profesional, perdón, tienes que llenar esta parte aquí de que otra persona lo llenó por ti.
Una pregunta, si por cuestiones de salud uno debe colocar informes médicos, no sé, como para apoyo de lo que uno está diciendo, algún informe médico nuestro o mío allá en Venezuela.
It is okay if I arguing that I have health issues. May I attach medical reports from my country? Is that okay?
So you are welcome to attach any evidence with your asylum application when you submit your asylum application. That's perfectly fine. The only thing I was referencing before with respect to you talking about evidence as part of your answer to a question is that if you refer to evidence, you should be submitting that evidence with your application. I don't want you to be referring to something that you plan on getting later. I don't want you to say, I'm working on getting my medical records. It's a risk because now they're saying if you're talking about evidence and it's not here, we're going to send the application back to you.
Sí, siéntete en la confianza de anexar los reportes médicos que tengas, no importa el país que los tenga. Siéntete en confianza de anexarlo. Aquí lo importante es saber de que no puedes decir o mencionar algo en esta aplicación que no tienes contigo en el momento. No te voy a mandar más adelante unos informes que estoy esperando del doctor. No los menciones entonces. Menciona todo aquello, incluyendo tus informes médicos, siempre y cuando estén contigo y tú los adjuntes cuando envíes tu planilla de asilo.
But you can of course still answer the questions by saying, I fear persecution in my home country because I have this specific medical condition and this is how, the government and its agents have mistreated me and wanted to punish me for this medical condition. That's fine. Just don't reference medical records themselves if you're not attaching them. But you can reference your own medical condition, of course, if that's part of your asylum case.
Tú puedes hacer referencia a tu condición médica y decir en tu planilla de aplicación de asilo que por tu condición médica tú fuiste tratada de esta u otra manera o perseguida por el gobierno de esta u otra manera por tu condición médica. Eso lo tienes que decir. Pero lo que nuevamente hace ella hincapié es que no hagas entonces referencia a reportes médicos que no tengas contigo. Tú vas a decir tu condición médica porque eso te produjo una persecución en un determinado país por algo, por el trato, lo que sea. Eso tienes que decirlo. Pero ya luego, cuando estás explicando tu caso, no hagas referencia a reportes médicos que no tengas contigo, a menos que estén contigo, tú los adjuntes y los envíes.
And I see we have more questions. Just very quickly before I continue with the questions, there's so many the wonderful people here that are providing resources today. I've concluded the main things I wanted to talk about with the asylum application. So for anyone in the room who doesn't have questions and you want to visit one of the folks who's here to provide more information about education and healthcare and mental that'd be nice. Mental well-being and mental health, let's put them together. If you have anything that you'd like to speak with these folks about, go ahead and do that now. But if you do have more questions, I'm happy to continue answering those questions.
Well, thank you
okay.
very much, Caitlin. That was very good.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And thank you, New York.
Siéntanse libres de hacerle preguntas a las personas que están aquí como voluntarias para contestar cualquier pregunta que tengan con referencia a la herramienta de salud, a educación y a la parte de salud mental. A cualquiera de esos tres voluntarios, si requieren traducción, estoy a la orden. Y si tienen alguna pregunta adicional para el abogado, por favor, bien concreto y en orden, se pueden acercar ahí y preguntar.
And please, only questions specifically about the form, and I'm not doing consultations today.
Solamente preguntas específicas de la planilla, no va a responder nada adicional a esto.
Okay, and should I turn this off?
Yes,
now
sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you. Hi there. You're getting bigger.